Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode of AMs of the Axe FX3. Today we are checking out the Diezel Herbert, or if you're from where I am in South Louisiana, the Diezel Herbert. Guys, if you're not subbed, you should really think about it. We do lots of cool stuff here, do giveaways and go over some cool gear and other cool stuff, and I don't really want you to miss that, so make sure you are subscribed. So let's jump right in to the Diezel Herbert. So IR wise, today we're going to be using ML Mega Green for the Plexi. We're going to be using GGD Zilla's oversized 412 with a UK V30 with an SM57. One for the JCM 800 or the 2 Plus channel, and for the VH4 channel 3, we're going to be using the Zilla cab. And pretty basic, nothing too crazy or going on here. So in the Axe FX, as you see, for the Herbert, or it's called Herbine here, we have the channel 2 Plus, 2 Minus, and channel 3. So what that means is, this is what the Herbert looks like. This is coming from the X Amp Guy. I'm going to put a link to that in the description down below if you want to check that out. So it's a 3-channel amp. So channel 1 is your clean channel. We don't have that in the Axe FX. Channel 2 is what we do have. So there is a gain switch. It's like right here, I believe. You can do minus, which is less gain, and plus, which is more gain. And go check out the Herbert demo by Josh. This one's actually really good. He plays a lot of cool lead stuff on it. Uses KT66s or KT77s. Like I was saying before, channel 2 has a plus or a minus. So the minus is kind of like in a plexi territory. For channel 2, the plus kind of gets into that JCM 800 territory, and the third channel kind of gets you into that VH4 territory. The Herbert and the VH4 kind of cover the same type of territory, except they do things a little bit differently. The real Herbert amp has a mid cut. We don't have that modeled here, but all you really have to do to emulate that mid cut is put you an EQ and just cut 400 hertz a little bit, and it'll pretty much give you that scoop that the real mid cut does on the actual amp. So enough of me talking about the amp and looking at it. Let's see how it sounds. So I'm gonna go over 2 Plus first, and then 2 Minus, and then channel 3, just because that's how it is in the Axe FX. There's no particular rhyme or reason. Let's check it out. So I'm using a Tom Anderson Cobra with an HC1 in the neck and HC3 in the bridge, and those are Tom Anderson pickups. I'm going to start on my bridge pickup, and I'm going to cycle to the parallel bridge, and then the middle, and then the parallel neck, and the neck. So I'll cycle through all of them as we go along to let you hear what it sounds like. Let's go. So I think I like the Herbert the best on my bridge parallel position. It cuts a little bit of that low end and kind of gives it a little bit of sparkle. And I really like the JCM 800 mode, aka channel 2 plus. Now, it doesn't sound exactly like a JCM 800. It does have that Diezel mid-range character to it. Diezels have like a very unique mid-range character to it. Speaking of mid-range, my output EQ, I just cut a little bit of the mids. That's all I really did. I didn't really do anything too crazy. I don't really do that on most of the amps I have. And then we go over here and into the AXFX3. So I do like this mode. I like it a lot. And like I said, I like it on my parallel position because it kind of takes a little bit of that low end out of it. It's really, really thick. It's just kind of thick, and you can actually use it for leads, like in this spot in the parallel position, because it doesn't get too ice picky. Like I said, it's really nice. It's and it's really thick. I think this is my favorite channel out of all of the three. So let's go on to the plexi. So for the plexi, we're using ML Green, but the proximity up a tad. These settings are the same in pretty much all of the cabs. I sort of went like a real plexi. I jacked up the treble. I didn't really put the mids all the way up. I left the master, same presence and depth. I didn't mess with any of that. Actually, I did not mess with anything on the EQ. Same exact thing. I'm going to start on the bridge, and I'll cycle between the parallel and middle position, so on and so forth. Once again, 2- channel, it does kind of sound like a plexi, it's kind of low gain, got a little bit of crunch. I'm not using any boost or anything on it. It sounds great without any post EQ. Let me just crank the input a little bit, let you hear what that sounds like. Hopefully it doesn't blow out your ears. I like it around 6. It kind of gives you that nice, good in-between gain sound going on there. It's like you said, when you, as you heard, when you push this one really hard, it gets kind of, it's kind of a little bit bloated. But the plexi channel is cool. I mean, we have so many plexi channels here in the AXFX, so you can take your pick. On the real amp, I think it's cool that you have this because you can go from, you can get more gain than this if you need something a little bit harder. Now let's move on to the VH4 mode, aka the channel 3. I'm not the biggest fan of this channel. I find it weird, especially for rhythms. So same thing, I'm gonna play and cycle the pickups. This channel is weird for me. I much prefer the JC8 800 channel and or the 2 Plus channel. This channel, it's kind of compressed. I don't know. It's really weird for me. I think I lowered the master a little bit for it. It kind of sounds like the VH4 to me. My favorite VH4 sim we have in here is actually Diezel Metal, which was actually a sim that Cliff, the guy who created Fractal, it was modeled off of what he thought it sounded like, I guess, and he kind of had like a schematic and he kind of just modeled it how he thought it would sound. It wasn't a direct copy of the amp. That's my favorite VH4 model in here. I really don't like the VH4 channel 3 on the Herbert. It's considered a lead channel. You can get kind of like more of like a metal distortion from it, but it's not the type of metal distortion that I particularly gravitate toward. I find this one works better for leads, which I know it's called a lead channel. I find it works better for that. So I feel like this amp, it's not really a high gain amp. It's not. The VH4 is not a high gain amp either. It's more like a mid gain amp. I think that this is kind of the same thing. It kind of thrives more in that kind of realm. Like, you know, hard rock is like the very end of where it cuts off. Anything after that, it doesn't really excel at that. But that is gonna be it for the Diezel Herbert here in the Axe-Fx 3. Guys, if you thought this video was cool, leave me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, if you haven't subbed, you should, because we got lots of cool stuff going on here. The next amp we're going to be looking at is going to be the high watt. That is actually based off of a 74 high watt that Cliff owns and has, and that's what this is going to be modeled off of. That is what's going to be on the next episode. So make sure you're here so you don't miss it. And we do have some Hot Kitty and the Jazz 120, Roland Jazz 20. Played a lot of that when I was in college. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for sticking around and checking out this episode. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Peace.